woman, black hips, black kiss, black lips, afro with a black pick. Love when you talk that blackish. Black man, black fist,
Vokal Dialect,
black grip,
like, comment, subscribe.
Vokal Dialect podcast. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Vokal Dialect podcast. Like, comment, subscribe.
Black schools, black scholars, black doctors, black designers, black garments, black stage, black performance, black panel, black audience, black mothers, black fathers, black sons, black daughters, black love, black honor. You black today, you gonna be black tomorrow. Black woman, black hips, black kiss, black lips, afro with a black pig.
Hotep brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings. What I'm saying to the brother is that I'm not talking about coming and organizing anything. You've got enough organizations down here in Philly. You've got enough churches, you've got enough fraternities, you've got enough sororities, you've got enough of every kind of organizations, just that none of them have the insight except the few African ones. You got to realize that if we don't give our people more, and if we don't put more light in their consciousness, you're going to keep attending the funerals. You're going to keep going to the bail's bondsman. You're going to keep sitting in sorrow with your friends. You're going to keep talking about why you got to bend your back because it's what's necessary to make the next dollar. And it's not going to change. And the next generation, they're going to kill more of your great-grandchildren. And the next generation, they're going to kill more of your great-great-grandchildren. And we ain't going to be doing nothing about it. White boys from the suburbs are going to come in there with guns and keep killing you. Other foreigners going to come in with the dope and keep poisoning you. And you're not going to be able to do nothing but keep talking about I'm leaning on the Lord. Well, the Lord must have fell because we're not standing any longer. And one must be very fair about this matter. Any God that would lead his people through all of this with no light at the end of the tunnel and the beasts get more glorious every day, either that God isn't worth much or we are not clear on what God is. And so we've got to get down and get serious. And so I've come down today. I have to be speaking in Brooklyn at 8 o'clock tonight, and I just left a thing at City College. But when Brother White called me, we dilly-dallied, and I said, brother, you know, I'm tight on this thing. He said, yeah, Brother James, you got to do it. And I said, well, brother, you know, it don't look like I can make it. So, Brother James, we've been fighting for how long? So I says, Philly's going to be on my agenda today or else. Because it's important. This is an old black community in Philadelphia. This is one of the most revolutionary black community in America, historically, in Philadelphia. This is the point, the ending point of the major migration out of the South, especially out of my home, South Carolina, Philadelphia. And somehow Philadelphia, that was always the greatest light of the black world, have fallen into darkness. You know, it seems like ever since we allowed them to come in and murder those young people with the dreadlocks, God taught us a lesson. He burned the whole damn community down to show you you were wrong, but yet we didn't understand. We got confused. Thought that the young people was responsible for burning down all of those houses, burning up all that valuable property, all that material stuff that we had abandoned righteousness to get was all lost in a minute. Because we took our babies, even though they may have been in their 30s and 20s, they were our babies, and we gave them to the beast to be slaughtered and stood by to watch the slaughter.
That's right.
And so God have a way of teaching you a lesson. And because we insist on joining the white man in his historical blood fest, God has kept us in a perpetual blood fest.
That's right.
See, because we don't understand what we're doing. If we aspire to be like these people, you aspire to be in partnership with murder.
That's right.
You aspire to be in partnership with thievery. You aspire to be in partnership with people who do not respect the elders. They can't wait for them to get in the nursing home and leave them there to die. You aspire to be in partnership with people who feel that their children isn't worth nothing to them other than what they could produce for them. You aspire to deal with people who, when a member of the family gets sick, they put him away and forget about him. You aspire to be with people who would go to any length to take the raw material, the land, the labor of another person without thinking a second thought. If we keep on the course that we started on with the so-called civil rights movement, it'll be the same if Jesus, whom many of you believe in that personality, when it went to the Garden of Gethsemane, when it went to pray, and when he was tempted by the devil, it'd be the same if Jesus says, okay, Satan, I'm going to follow you. I'm going to integrate with you, Satan. I'm going to become a partner with you in your deeds so that everything will be all right, and I don't have to have the hardship that comes with opposing what you're about. See, most of us, I got no problem with people who say they are Christians if they are doing what Christ did. I have no problem with people who say they're Muslim if they're doing what Muhammad did. I have no problem with people who say they're Israelite, Hebrews, or Jews if they're doing what the Maccabee family did. I got a problem with hypocrisy even if it's out of ignorance. And that's where we're at. There's no reason for the second largest group. Do you realize that the African Americans is second in size only to the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant in the United States? Do y'all realize that? They keep calling us a minority. Everybody else is a minority except us and the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. And we are only a minority to the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, maybe. Maybe. Because his ranks is so filled now with Jews and Catholics and Poles and everything else, he lost his white Anglo-Saxon Protestantness a long time ago. We may well be singularly the largest ethnic group in America. But we have accepted our enemies calling us minorities, and we have accepted acting out the role of some weak, wimpy minority. Even though we spend as a community nearly $400 billion a year, making us the 6th or 5th largest nation in the world economically, and don't have a damn thing to show for it. Except some clothes which we got to discard in a few years to buy more, or a raggedy piece of an automobile which you could have done well just to have kept the last one and keep it in running shape, or a bunch of cheap furniture that you're going to exchange 4 and 5 times in your lifetime in the same living room and dining room because you forgot what the furniture was for. You thought it was there for people to look at and not there to be used in a certain way. This is not just Philly, this is all of African America I'm talking about. This is our situation. Even when we get the most intellectual training the white man got to offer, we get on TV and talk about the size of each other's penis and the so forth and so on, like Brother Hill and Sister Thomas, or Sister Hill and Brother Thomas did. They were the cream of the crop. They did exactly what the civil rights movement said you should do.
That's right.
They integrated.
That's right.
The brother got so integrated, he integrated the bedroom.
That's right.
He heard Dr. King when he called for little black boys and little white girls to play together, and he went to playing and never stopped. Right? They integrated. They got PhDs. They got law degrees. They worked for the finest firms. They got to the top of the corporate ladders. They did everything they said if you integrated you could be, and all we had was some scum sitting on public television acting like ill-mannered, moral, unethical idiots. That's what we had. Instead of having some proud, strong-backed, clear, African-thinking people, we ended up with the best of the crop. And see, you can't put Thomas down and say he was conservative. I'm one of the most conservative people you're going to run into. I'm very conservative. I don't understand what people mean when they say you're conservative, you're liberal. I'm a conservative. Any African who isn't a conservative is a fool. What is it you got to be liberal about or to be liberal with? You've been liberal with your freedom, giving it to the Jews. Jews own you. You've been liberal with your property. The Jews done bought it from you or stole it from you. You've been liberal with the best of your male crop. The Jewish women got them. You've been liberal with the best of your female crop. The Jewish men got them too. We've been liberal with everything, and that's why we're in the situation we're in. We better learn how to conserve what's ours. We need to learn how to become very conservative. We need to think of a time when we were doing good, and if you check out that time, it's when we were very conservative. See, conservatism for white people mean one thing. Conservatism for us should mean something else. White people want to conserve white supremacy. I want to conserve the point in history when Africans had freedom. I want to conserve the notion of our freedom. I want to conserve the way of our ancestors. I can't be comfortable talking about Jesus or talking about Muhammad or talking about Moses or any of those things when I know that man is 25 million years old, and I know that paleontology, anthropology, and archaeology puts him in Africa. I know that Homo sapiens sapien is at least 5+ million years old, and he's also or she's also in Africa. When I know they've done the mitochondrial DNA test more than once and proved that all species in the world of the human come from one black woman. And if we've been around that long and we don't get a whiff of Abraham until 1700 BC, what the hell is all that little fairy tale and mythology is all about that's got us so confused and hating each other and misusing each other? A story told in times too recent to take serious, and we've made it the point at which we determine whether we live or die, and we've killed in the name of it. You've been arguing over the directions you gave to the psychotic member of the family in order that they might function with some sanity, and now he kicked your butt and made you act as psychotic as he is, and then he gives you the same thing. You're still going to be crazy. And if you think what we're allowing isn't that of an insane person, then you'll need to examine yourself and get real. There's nobody in this room more beautiful than anybody else, except in the minds of some backwoods person. There's nobody in this room more ugly than anybody else, except if their deeds paint them so. There's nobody in this room that is more valuable than anybody else, because when I cut off the oxygen for both of them, death is what's going to meet both of them, no matter how valuable they think they are. Equality isn't something we have to fight for. We should simply fight for the right to be right. Fight for the right to be right. In every one of the religions we use, it says, know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. It tells you truth alone will set you free. Yet the truth is the one thing you can't bring even to your family when you get it, and the truth has to do with Africa. Even your mother will reject you out of hand.
That's right.
But then we'll go right out the door and profess in the name of Christ, know the truth, and surely you should be free. And I say, oh my, we African. Get the hell out of here, boy, with that foolishness. Know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Look in the mirror in the morning, it tells you the truth, and you get angry with the mirror telling you the truth, and you immediately go to a chemical chest, which you call a beauty chest, or a medicine cabinet for the male, or his little bag, whatever that thing we all used to use, and some of us still use, and we begin to go through some chemical rituals to destroy the truth right in front of our face immediately. Michael is just the extreme. All of us do it to one degree or another, every day. Every day. Because some psychotic, misguided, ill-fitted for nature, albino, something that is deficient in something has told that which is proficient in something that the proficient one is inferior, and the proficient one, because they're ignorant of what Baba was trying to tell you, your own heritage feels inferior. even though you look upon the biologically inferior element, because if you're missing something, then and you got something beside you that has the something, then you are indeed inferior to the thing that has the thing you're missing. And that ain't saying nothing but the truth. You don't confuse things when you wanna say have a cup of coffee. You don't confuse, you put the coffee to perk and all you get is clear water. You're not confused. Even if it smells like coffee and have the taste of coffee, you don't get confused. You got to see some black, muddy looking stuff coming out and you say, I got some coffee here. Otherwise, you just got some hot water. You don't lie to yourself about the most basic thing. I don't care if the white man says I'm a racist. How could someone who murdered more than 200 million of my kind, who raped to the point of death more than 50 million of my woman, who slaughtered close to 100 million of my children, got the nerve to call me anything? If I killed his mama, I would be justified. Y'all think that's harsh. All his mama gonna produce is another beast to destroy me. I ain't got no more time for that. They've taught us to just stay and let people keep killing us. Police come in our neighborhood and kill us. We get into church and cry and oh Lord, not once do we get up and just say, Jesus, give me the strength to kill the son of a bitch. Not once. I've been to enough funerals. Not once. They took the best I had. They took my baby, Lord. Fuck that. Go kill the cop. Go kill the cop and see how many babies they won't take no more, because they'll think somebody else mama coming to kill them. But they done made y'all so scared to go before God, because y'all want to live forever in this form. Ain't none of us gonna live forever, and ain't nobody know when they're leaving. Ain't none of us gonna live forever, and ain't nobody know when they're gonna leave. You don't know how you're going to leave, even if you put the bullets in the gun to your head. Even if you took the poison, at best you can guarantee it's gonna cause you some harm. You can't guarantee you won't spend the next 20 years in a coma. You can't guarantee you won't spend the next rest of your life paralyzed. Only thing you know for sure is that we're leaving here. We don't know when we're going to leave or by what means. So those three things don't even worry about. They're taken care of for you in advance and in a most permanent and complete way. If you accept and understand that notion, then nobody can make you afraid of death.
That's right.
And then you'll understand why Malcolm said the secret to life is to have no fear, and then you'll understand why he walked in that ballroom that day knowing they were going to kill him. He felt standing up and being a man for you as a symbol of that kind of man was worth more than being a wimp and breathing air. And so he went, knowing what the sentence was. He didn't walk into an accidental ambush. Malcolm knew before he got there he was going to die there, and he knew when he walked in for certain he was going to die there. He knew when he walked on the stage it was all over. He knew that. But he made a choice. If I run, my people would have run. If I act frightened, my people would have acted frightened. So I will go and I will raise my hand. He had made up the little game of get your hand out of my pocket. He taught it. He knew exactly what the game was. And he stood there and took the bullets. Took the bullets for you. But like the brother said, you don't call him Christ. That wasn't crucifixion. Dr. King went to Memphis knowing he would not get out of Memphis alive that second time. It had been told to him. It was made clear to him. He understood he wasn't coming out this time. He knew it. It frightened him a little bit at first, and he went to a downtown hotel, and when certain people prod him, he went on back over to the Lorraine, walking in there, and noticed that the tree that was once in front of his balcony just 2 weeks ago was cut down. He knew the die had been cast, and he didn't run. He got ready to face them, and he took the bullets for you too, but you don't call that crucifixion. See, we need to understand what parable and allegories mean and what symbols mean. The story of Jesus was never a real historical happening. The story of Jesus is to let you know symbolically what must happen in order for you to declare someone to be the anointed Savior. That's all the word Jesus Christ means. It's the anointed Savior. What is it to be anointed? Anointed means to have divine wisdom, a divine understanding, divine knowledge. Divine wisdom and understanding knowledge mean to know the truth and know a way to apply it to the consciousness of other human beings so they can learn it and use it. Savior simply means you are willing to sacrifice yourself and sacrifice what you've got to do that, to exercise and share that truth and that wisdom and that understanding. Ain't nothing bigger about the thing they throwing all the spookism out here that keep you all confused. All of you in this room do something godly, something as an angel at some point in your life. The problem is we're doing it accidentally. It'll be hellified if we start doing it deliberately. But y'all afraid to think like I just discussed. Y'all scared to believe that there was no such historical happening as Jesus. The story of Jesus was told in Africa and is written in stone 3,000-4,000 years before Bethlehem was built by another name. God did not wait for a bunch of little white people to invade the Middle East to have his example of a son or daughter come. I mean, if you read the document, Jesus said, we are all the children. He said to those brothers following him, you are all the Son of God when you behave as I do. So the deal has nothing to do with which vagina you came out of. It had to do with how you behave once you got here. But that isn't the way it's taught in the pulpit, unfortunately. And having had a grandfather who was a minister, who was a good man, who believed like I do. I learned more from him. They kicked my poor grandfather out of the church because they thought he was crazy. But he believed in the practical application of the truth and reality because he was a farmer and he saw God's manifestation every day. He knew if you didn't put any seeds in the ground, you weren't going to get no plants coming out of the ground. He wasn't confused. He knew that once you put it in the ground, if you didn't attend to it with a little care and a little water and a little nourishing, a little love and a little concern, even if it came up, it would die on you. He knew if you didn't prune it and get the grass out and keep enough soil around the roots so the sun didn't kill it, it wouldn't bear no fruit for you. Those were just rules God gave us to use for nurturing and bringing forth the life and up to maturity of all things that has life. Same rules apply to how we rear children. My children, even the adults, don't tell me where to go or don't tell me what to do. I wouldn't tolerate it. They know from the sound. I bet when those who have left home, if they think about doing certain things, they imagine the tone of my voice. Fear is a good tool if used properly. I have smacked some of my kids down so hard, I'm lucky the floor held up. It was better a sore jaw than a morgue slap. It was better that that girl heard those words that had her trembling than to be shaken in a hospital from AIDS. It was better me cussing till I had to go to a book to find something that had more than 4 letters than to be holding a conversation over a prison barrier. Because I made a decision. I had 6, me and my wife, that when I brought them here, I was going to take full and absolute responsibility. The state ain't got no authority over my kids, and they better not try to take it. My parents ain't got no authority. They can share with me in the rearing of it. I took authority. I am God in my family. I understood exactly what the Africans did when they created the symbols that the Romans mistook for the Holy Mother, God and child. It was nothing but a symbol of a man, a woman, and a child. And all the Africans was implying was that all women should be treated like God's mother and that all men should be treated like God, and that all children should be treated like the child of the gods. This half-wit idiot from Europe came in and saw those statues and saw the writings and thought that one woman, that the statue represented one woman who had a special kind of happening with God. And when you see the statue in Egypt, he knocked the man off, broke the man off. But they're going to tell us about single-parent family and stuff. They create the notion of single-parent family right at the root of their religious understanding, which was a misunderstanding of what we left as a message to the future. Imagine what the world would be like if every man respected every woman like she was the mother of God, and every woman respected every man like he was God, and every man and every woman respected every child like that child was the child of God. You wouldn't even need laws. You wouldn't need police. You wouldn't need government. You wouldn't need all this foolishness that you must only have when morality and ethics and laws have broken down. You don't need these things. And old Lao say, I think chapter 64 in the book of the Tao, he says, when people have laws to govern them, ethics and morals have lost their way in governing them. When you need somebody with a gun on their hip to keep you from being uncivil, then you've lost your ability to be civil. But yet you call your civilization, your society, civilization. How could it be civilized when you got prisons, armies, guns, weapons? That is not civilized. But we bought the term, it's civilized. Y'all want to act civilized. When you're civilized, women don't have to worry about being raped in a civilized social order. Children don't have to worry about going hungry in a civilized social order. Men don't have to worry about being unemployed in a civilized social order. So the African, especially you who came out here today against this weather and after having met your responsibilities to your family today, like going to church and cooking and the things the sisters have to do, because sometimes the brothers think they're going to drop dead if they help her cook on a Sunday or something like that, you know. Yeah, y'all ought to get real about that, you know. Y'all not just something to be fed. If we want our women to be all we know she could be, then we need to stop acting like the white man and stop being supremacist against them. You see? Oh, but I'm not letting the sisters off the hook. If you want your men to be all that they should be, stop treating them like boys and demanding manhood from them. You don't want to stop rearing these little boys even when they get gray hair. You still want to be mamaing them and keeping them little boys. And we understand why. During slavery, that was the best way to keep your child alive. Even after slavery, I remember while my parents sent all of my brothers, they got 18, they had to leave South Carolina because they know we was big and some of us thought we were bad and that white man would have killed us. So they beat you down as much as they can to kill that spirit in you, and if they couldn't kill it all, then you had to leave home. Only those ones who could submit could stay down there. So we understand where it comes from, but we got to stop it now. You got to make this man the baddest sucker you can make up. You got to make him the bravest thing you can come up with, even if you have to dream of some brave notions. You have to make him the most fearless thing in the world, no matter how long he lives. Because to live one day as a man is worth living a whole life, as what we see on the street out here. Because that's what the bottom line is. God came in the beginning when we came. And there can be no God without you. See, you got all confused. You thought they could be no you without God. But some of y'all scared of the way I said that. It don't fit right. That ain't the way you've been taught. But the only thing we know about God comes from the mind of a human being. Better listen to that. You don't know nothing about God that did not come from the mind of another human being. You say, well, the Bible is the holy word. Well, that may be true, but some man or woman wrote it down there. You say the Quran is divine revelation. That's fine, but somebody wrote it on that paper for you to read and call it divine revelation. Now, you may want to ask where they get it from, but they're long gone, and you'll never really know that piece. That don't mean no disrespect to them, but we need to get real. You need to read the books, first of all, before you start killing over them. Most people you hear shooting their mouth off of defending the Quran and the Bible never read a damn thing in the first place. I know it's the truth. I was a Muslim minister for 15 years. One thing I realized about people, once they learn Salaam Alaikum, Rahmatullah, Kif Halik, they didn't want to do nothing else but wear a kufi and carry a rug on their back, make the 5 prayers during the day, learn the prayers by heart. You know? And when I was a teenager in my father's church down in Georgetown, you know, we used to teach catechism and quarterly classes, and everybody just repeat. Who's that? Papa had a thing, you know, you go around the church and he had these pictures set up. So he said, who's that? Jesus and the mother. Who's that? Jesus and the Father. And who's that? Jesus on the cross. And who's that? Jesus last supper, until you get to Jesus risen. And then that was the last one, the whole story in pictures. And past that, nobody was interested in Jesus.